Ironheart, the new series on Disney Plus just ended, and it had some crazy cameos. One in particular that everyone in Marvel had been waiting for. So now that it's out, we're going to talk about it. Stay tuned. You landed yourself right here on the Collard Greens TV channel. I'm your host, King, and this is my co host, JC3. And we do these videos weekly. So come in and check us out. Today, we're going to talk about Ironheart. So let's just jump in with our first thoughts. Hit them, Jay. What'd you think?
I do have to say, as far as first thoughts go for the show Ironheart, overall, I would say I thought it was okay. Um, a decent show. It left some things to be desired with me personally. Um, I believe that the show was announced in 2020 and mostly shot in the year 2022, and we probably had some reshoots that happened last year. But I mean, this show has been on the shelf for a while, and I'm glad that we finally got it out. But for me, it did feel like we were it was kind of like paint by the numbers, and things kind of did feel a little bit rushed. I did enjoy Dominique Thorne's portrayal as Riri. I did like the way she was reckless and kind of like very cocky, kind of like Tony Stark in a way. But obviously, the difference is with Tony Stark being, a billionaire and Riri coming from the streets of Chicago, they have to go about getting their armor a different way. So I like seeing the differences between them. I also like the interactions that she had with Zeke in the show, who we find out is Obadiah Stane's son from the original Iron Man movie. So there's some connective tissue there for the MCU fans that have been watching this ever since 2008, which was pretty cool. Uh, I also really enjoyed, probably one of my most favorite things of the show is just her interactions with her friend Natalie, who we find out died in the show through a drive-by, and becomes her AI, in the show. And that's another way that she stands out when it comes between her and Tony Stark. With his AI being Jarvis, eventually becoming Vision, her AI is her deceased best friend. So that adds a lot of emotional depth in the show, which I appreciated. And we have a special cameo that we'll talk about later that obviously I really enjoyed. But I was by the end of it, I can't lie, I was a tad bit let down. But what you think?
So for me, I'm a little different. I absolutely love this show. I thought it was a great portrayal of another tech genius. We've seen a lot of smart tech geniuses in the Marvel world, notably, of course, Iron Man being the closest one. But you had mentioned about, Iron Man was a billionaire, who had this big company, kind of like real world Lockheed Martin, where Riri is a young kid who went into MIT at 15 years old, exceptionally brilliant. But of course, because she's from the south side of Chicago, she doesn't have that kind of money. So I really thought it was a story of partially the haves and the have nots, right? Where she's kind of having to do a lot of questionable things or things that she might morally not go with to get this suit build and to build her dreams. And that's kind of shown because she doesn't have the funding. She doesn't have that kind of money. Her family doesn't have that kind of money. And where she comes from, people don't have that kind of money. So she's kind of having to do what street people, in inner cities, Chicago and other places, they got to go hustle it up. And I thought that was really showcased in her character. And my other favorite or other things that I really enjoyed about it was, like you said, her relationship with Natalie. Um, it was great to see the AI talk to her more like a person versus like an actual machine. It was a friend. It had jokes. It had memories. It came about in kind of a crazy way. I thought that was a great piece. You know, her best friend being one of Natalie's best friends, being the older brother to Natalie, of course, who was strucken down by gun violence and losing her stepfather and that kind of tragedy. But they had some really funny moments, some real fun. So for me, I really enjoyed it all. Why don't we kind of talk about a little bit about our like favorite parts of the show overall? Since we're going to talk about the entire series, it went by so quickly that we couldn't do it episodically. So we're gonna do one big one. So Jay, tell me what some of your favorite parts of the show were.
I would say one of my favorite parts was the beginning of the series where we see, excuse me, that she's in MIT trying to build her suit, and we see I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was the white bald guy with glasses that we also saw in Captain America: Civil War. Looks like he was one of her teachers or instructors, so he makes a cameo in the episode. It was little things like that. It's still cool to see. I really enjoyed how she had this whole monologue to her teachers about how they're trying to make her feel small and like but no, like I don't want to stay in here. I don't want to answer questions from my professors. I actually want to be doing something, but you guys want me to do this. Like, and her instructor just tells her, that's bull. Like that's not the case. In fact, you're actually helping people around campus and so many other places with their assignments, and them getting, like A's that I'm sure they might not have gotten without Riri's help. And she ends up getting expelled, takes the suit that she's been building at MIT this whole time, and then she takes off with it to head back to Chicago. The main reason why that's one of my favorite scenes is how she crash lands. One, I just
Love
thought
that suit.
I thought that whole scene was funny, just because it was slowly breaking down on her as she's slowly like crashing down to the streets of Chicago, and the way that she had crashed on the street is very reminiscent of how Iron Man crashed in his first suit after he got captured and he got away, and how he landed on the sand and his suit was completely torn up. So kind of gave a good callback to that, which I really appreciated. I also enjoyed some of the heists that we had in this show, just because I'm a fan, of heist movies. It kind of reminds me of like Gone in 60 Seconds, or even some of the movies in the Fast and the Furious franchise. I know a lot of people don't like that, but kind of gave me that feeling too. I also enjoyed a lot of scenes that Anthony Ramos. That's the actor who plays Parker Robbins, aka the Hood. I liked a lot of the scenes that he had with his brother, his close brother that was on the heists with him before his brother unfortunately passed away due to uh, asphyxiation. Yeah, he was choking on some smoke that somebody might have been able to help him out in, but that didn't really happen. But anyways, I digress. I did like some scenes that he had with his brother before he passed. Uh, and of course, one of my another favorite moment for me is when she got her new suit by the end of the series. That whole black and red barracuda type of look that she had, which is the main, which was the car that her and her friend Natalie bonded over. Very nice tie-in by the end of the episode. That suit looked awesome to me. Also loved the end fight between her and the Hood as well. I thought that was pretty cool. What were some of your favorite parts?
Man, so I got to piggyback for sure off of the MIT section in the beginning. I mean, it was so fun to see her kind of dress down everybody and then subsequently get dressed down herself. You know what I mean? And then she's slinging these science projects out to people to make them to get them better grades. And of course, like I said earlier, she has to hustle it up. There's not a lot of money for her, but then she goes to the lab and she gets her new suit. And I love that silver suit. I love to see her fly and the way they shot that. One of my favorite parts for sure was the way that they did the opening title in every episode. And that crash that you were mentioning was one of the ways they incorporated that opening title. And for me, it was really reminiscent of Kamala Khan. And those shows or those episodes where they integrated the words into the surroundings. So whether it was Ironheart in the street or Ironheart in a sign or Ironheart in the little burger fry cup thing. I mean, I thought that was a very good design. Her suits were incredible. She had some amazing suits, and building them from scraps. I loved I love some of the newer characters we got. I really think the Hood was a great character. Anthony Ramos did a good job of giving depth to the character that I didn't necessarily expect. And I think the guy was his cousin actually, and not his
Oh,
brother.
cousin,
Uh,
yes.
but I loved his character. I've seen him in a lot of shows. I can't remember the show right now that I really think of him in, but I've seen him a lot. I really like that actor. I actually hope that he would stick around a little longer. And I mean, we saw him die, but we didn't really see him die. So there's a chance to bring him back in the future. I love that we got the callback with Obadiah Stane's son. Like you said, some connective tissue from a lot of movies. A lot of really good movies were connected into this that go back. We have little remnants from Agatha all along and the magic aspect that this show touches on. We've got some, of course, Iron Man 1 references, Wakanda Forever references. I mean, I think the show does a good job to really sit you in this lived in universe. So I really, really enjoyed that piece of it. What were some of like the big spectacles that like really surprised you or you were really excited about? Maybe even cameo.
Well, if we're talking about like big spectacle, and the biggest spectacle that I could think of, and especially cameo wise, that just really shocked me, was the last episode where it's unveiled that we finally get Mephisto in the MCU. We learn that Mephisto is controlling the hood that Parker has been wearing throughout this whole series and influencing Parker in a lot of ways. Anytime Parker wears that hood, these dark, veiny lines start to just crawl all through his body. Uh, and actually, that's why his cousin in one of the episodes is tattooing his back because he's trying to cover those black veins that are just taking over his whole body. But we find out, yes, that it is controlled by Mephisto, and that's played by Sasha Baron Cohen, which everybody was we were pretty sure that of what character he might play, but we can't assume because quite frankly, we've been waiting for this character to show up ever since this saga started with WandaVision. And he was slightly teased in Agatha all along too. So now that we finally got him, that was definitely the biggest shock of the whole series. His performance was amazing. This is a Thanos level type of threat, and I can't wait to see what they do with him moving forward in the MCU. What he's doing now is even intriguing because I mean, he's essentially Marvel's version of the devil, and he is making deals with people, including Parker. And now he's also made a deal with Riri, that deal to bring her friend back to life, which I'm sure she thought might have been her AI friend. That might have been what she thought, but no, devil plays tricks. So instead, he brings her actual best friend back to life, and I was taken aback. It was shocking, but at the same time, I was kind of wondering where certain story beats are going to go since Riri had made the deal with the devil and made that decision. That will probably be the biggest thing that stands out for me is in regards to big spectacle of the show. But what about you?
So I would have to agree. Those of you who watch and pay attention, that was essentially me setting up a question so that he could just talk about Mephisto because I want to talk about Mephisto. We as Marvel fans who've been watching this for a long time, we've been waiting for a long time for Mephisto. In the comics, Mephisto plays a huge part in a lot of the stories that we've already seen in the Marvel universe. Of course, the Infinity Gauntlet, he was right by Thanos' side when he got the gauntlet. Mephisto definitely has a big part in this. Mephisto is one of the Hell Lords. He runs a section of essentially what we would call hell. There's other people down there like Chthon, Hela, Mistress Death. We have a lot of different options, but it was really good to see him. We knew a long time ago that Sacha Baron Cohen had been cast as this, but we didn't know what it was going to look like, how they were going to play it, what they were going to do with it. And I think they did a really good job of giving us a good Mephisto. A devil like character should be a smooth talking kind of wise guy, should approach you and seem kind of friendly. And he did those kind of things. And then, of course, he's going to make these deals with these people that, of course, like anybody should know, you make a deal with the devil, as it said. Um, a lot of things could happen. And it never ends up like you would want it to be or you had hoped it to be. So having Mephisto now here and having Hela be around, having Lady Death being around. I mean, the storytelling that we could have at this point is extremely exciting. I'm happy that Mephisto's here. I think Sasha did a great job. I think there was a really funny line that I enjoyed where she goes, "Well, you must be Dormammu," and he's like, "Dormammu? Like that dude's not fit to wipe my, and he kind of just brushes it off, and then he does this big wind up and dramatic and says, my name is Mephisto, and it has like this voice thing, and then she kind of has this more comical, played for laugh moments, like, "Who the hell's that? What does that mean to me?" And I kind of love that because characters in the world wouldn't know what to whom a Mephisto is. Just like, an hour before that, she had never heard of a Dormammu. So I think that's kind of funny for them to play it like that. And I really enjoyed having Sasha Baron Cohen here. And I'm excited to see what and how they're gonna, use his character and where he will pop up next and what they're going to do. Will he hang out with Rhea Vidal? Will we see some more Hela? Will we see him have a conversation with Dormammu? Because he's still out there. So I really enjoyed the Mephisto of it all, and I think all of us as Marvel nerds are happy Mephisto's finally home, and we can stop guessing when they're going to add him into shows because he's finally here. Um,
Final.
Right. So one of the next things I wanted to talk about were what are some of the things that did not work for you or were disappointed for you or that you did not like?
Well, for me personally, it was what kind of just rubbed me the wrong way about the show was again, I just felt like there were a few things that were rushed. Um, Zeke's character, it felt like we could have gotten more depth with him. Again, being the son of Obadiah Stane, I felt like we could have had more of a story of the son trying to not repeat the sins of the father type of thing. But instead, it's just he goes straight to the dark side. He even has electrical powers like freaking Palpatine in Star Wars. Uh, but his whole character arc just kind of felt rushed to me. Also, the fact that it is kind of Riri's fault that he was in trouble with the law in the first place, uh, and it just drove him to kind of turn on her. It just felt very fast to me. I like their dynamic when they would get together and ham it up and chat, but by the time they were enemies, it kind of like the whole thing just kind of felt flat to me. Uh, I really didn't care for most of the side characters, like for our new gang that was doing the heists. Um, I know that one of the characters, Slug, he's actually a character in the Spider-Man comics, I believe. They actually mentioned Madripoor, which is where they're from, which that was a nice little callback. But I mean, I didn't really care too much for that character or the twins. Uh, yeah, like it just like their group really didn't give me the vibes that say Ant-Man's group did. Like again, very similar. They're both criminals in their own way. Doing stuff, breaking the law. But I don't know. It kind of just felt more. They kind of felt more organic to me, and I could kind of root for them more than the characters in the Ironheart show. Um, that and mostly just for me, like the main problem with me with the show is it just didn't. I by the end of it, I really didn't feel like Riri's Ironheart was much of a hero. Uh, just because she says she wants to help people, which I do believe her, but at the same time, I don't really feel like we saw her help many people in the show. Like she mostly used her suits to commit crimes and prevent things that she actually, in a way, started. Uh, and and I think you and I talked about this off camera, but just the choice of her to make a deal with Mephisto after us as the audience, and I think her seeing what Parker making a deal with him did to him, like throughout this whole series, and for her to know that, or at least have a good hint of that, and still make a deal with him, it kind of undermined her whole journey for me in the show. I don't feel like she really changed much or learned anything by the end of it. I still like her, and I hope that her character uh, moves forward in a positive in more of a positive way for me. And I am intrigued to see where her character could go after making this deal. Um, it's just the thing that we don't know when it's going to get followed up, if we're going to follow up on it, just because we have other projects that we're doing right now. So I would say that was mainly just the only letdown. I didn't feel like she was much of a hero by the end of the series. But what about you?
So let me piggyback off of something you said there, kind of about the conclusion of Riri and her actions. One, very well said, my man. You know what I'm saying? Very well said. In some of that, I actually agree with you more than I did when we were discussing this off camera. Um, I just kind of see it from the narrative that she has to do these kind of bad gray area things to get where she needs to be, which inherently, you're right, kind of doesn't make her very much of a hero at this moment. And we didn't really get a hero's journey fully. It honestly felt like, even though she was a already developed character that we have seen in other films, being Wakanda Forever. It seemed like a more of, again, of like an origin story for her, and I think there's definitely more story to tell, especially of her triumph and her realization that she really made a deal with the devil and what that really is going to mean for her. And I mean, you were right; she did know that that Mephisto gave Parker the hood, and she definitely saw what it was doing. And I think her broken heart really wanted to have her friend back more than she wanted anything else, and that's what drove her to that decision. So, you know uh I think you were kind of right on with your thoughts. I think we're kind of definitely a little bit on the same side of the coin. I think my biggest issues with the show overall is, one, I do not like the episode release dates. I don't like the 3 and 3. I prefer more of the episode by episode. Also, it's easier for our channel to cover things like that, but it also gives us a fuller story. There was only 6 episodes and a lot of story to tell. So, as you mentioned, the side characters, I actually like their side gang. But after what you just said, I 100% agree that we didn't really get to see them do that much or have that much character development. They had a little bit, and we kind of know who they are, but we don't really get a sense of what they can do and who they're going to be, especially after they split from the hood. I would have expected them to try to seek out Riri and help him after they knew how dangerous the hood can be. They didn't. So I'm kind of wondering where they're going to be in the next projects or what they're going to do with those characters. I felt like definitely some was left on the cutting room floor. There was more, excuse me, deeper storytelling to tell that they really didn't. So I would hope that the next project she's in or the next movie or whatever, gives us a little more of that because I definitely feel like there is some more story to tell. And I think Marvel in general has to get away from doing these 6 to 8 episodes. We need at least 10 or more to really flesh out the ideas and the concepts that they're really throwing at us. That was probably my biggest complaints. For me, I didn't have too many big ones that I can currently think of. We'll probably discuss more of this in the future after, the next projects or two and more things get developed. But I think we should move right on into final thoughts. I'm going to do my final thoughts first, and then I'm going to let Jay do his final thoughts and close out the show. So, overall, I thought this was a really good show for me. I'm excited to see kind of where she's going to go next. I'm not sure. I know they said that she should be in the next two, the next Avengers movie, and then I believe she's going to be in Secret Wars because everyone should be in Secret Wars, right? So I'm excited to see kind of what they're going to do with her. Will she ever call Shuri? Is there anybody else that she can, call on that are superhero based to teach her how to do what they're doing? Will Kamala Khan and other characters come recruit her to the Young Avengers? So maybe she's out in Cali with the Young Avengers where they're probably going to be. I'm not sure what they're going to do next, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do with Riri. I enjoyed the show. It had a lot of controversy, and we'll have to do a separate episode about that. But overall, for me, I'm pretty happy. What's your final thoughts, Jay?
My final thoughts on the show. Again, I would say I feel like it was. I feel like the show was decent. I feel like it was an okay show. I did enjoy some of the emotive performances from the actors and actresses that were in it. And one thing I did mention is I did like the dynamic that Riri had with her mother. Typical, black mother energy that she was given, and I
Loved it.
really did enjoy. Um, but overall, I would say, like piggybacking off of you with the way that these episodes were released. Um, I just hope that Disney kind of chills on that now. Like this definitely felt like it came and went, and we had a lot on the cutting room floor that we probably could have used, but we're just trying to speed things up. Um, I really hope that going forward we pay more attention to what makes a hero heroic. You know what I mean? You're not necessarily supposed. I mean, you can have similar traits to the people that you're around, but ultimately you're supposed to overcome them. Or ultimately, you're not supposed to be like the people that are making these bad decisions. And I definitely understand, the love that she had for her friend, missing her friend, and most likely wanting her back so badly that she would make a deal like that. It's just the overall message. It's just the kind of like the cynical message the show kind of gave me that I was just really like, I feel like we could have done a little bit better here. Maybe a post credit scene where, like you said, Kamala Khan threw her into the Young Avengers. We could have gone into something like that. I do have high hopes for where her character can go in the future. Um, I hope that maybe we could see her in the Avengers movie or Young Avengers. Maybe we'll see her again in Black Panther 3. Um, Also with Mephisto, seeing his character, maybe we can get him in a Doctor Strange movie whenever they decide to pick that back up. Like there's just a lot. If anything, my takeaway from the show is I'm curious and excited to see where we take these characters next because we've left them in a very interesting spot, and who knows where it could go. Maybe a supernatural saga. This show dealt a lot with science and magic and how the two can go hand in hand. And one other thing I will say, I did really enjoy how she was able to integrate magic into her suit. Again, separating her from Iron Man and from the rest of the people that we know. I think that gave her a really good leg up. Uh, I am I'm somewhat satisfied, but I'm still left wanting more. I hope we get more, and I'm sure we will eventually. But those are my final thoughts on the show. And next up, Fantastic Four, and we're going to be covering that on this channel. Female server surfer and all you guys got to get used to it and get over it. It's okay. It's okay. We just need a good movie. That's
And
all. But
actually,
yes,
the next video we're gonna put out will be Superman that we're going to see in 2 days. So I hope everyone's gonna check out Superman because we're covering it here on the channel with Fantastic Four.
yes, yes, yes. And trust and believe, all of you, all of you. I'm talking to one person in particular that I know is going to be looking at this video. All of you will believe that a man can fly. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But until then, again, those are my final thoughts on the show. And I'm ready for what we got next. Is what we got next. It's pretty big.
We definitely got some big stuff coming up. We're excited here on the channel to keep covering this stuff. This is going to be a big year. Um, a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple months. So we appreciate everyone who comments and likes and shares and has joined the community and joined the channel. We've been seeing a lot of interest in TikTok and other things. So go follow us on all our socials and our handles. We appreciate all the love from all of you out there, and we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep putting out content and keep making these movie breakdowns and show breakdowns. So come back once a week and check out what we got going on. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time for the next one.
One more thing. Thank you for all the support. Don't make a deal with the devil. It never works out. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't learn from this show. Be entertained by this show, but do not learn from this show. Don't y'all do it. Thank you. We appreciate the support.
Peace, y'all.